The Extradimensional Crisis is coming to Pokemon Pocket on Thursday, May 29th, and it's bringing with it the Ultra Beast. Let's go ahead and dive on into breaking down all of the cards that we know from our latest card pack now. Before we dive into talking about the Ultra Beasts themselves, I think it's important that we showcase Lusamine, a powerful new supporter coming with our new card pack. Lusamine says you can only use this card if your opponent has gotten at least 1 point, and you get to choose one of your Ultra Beasts and attach 2 random energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. This effect seems incredibly strong if the Ultra Beasts are even remotely playable that she's going to be able to be paired with. In particular, her requirement of requiring your opponent to have a knockout point is a relatively minimal thing to have happen because her primary purpose is likely your opponent knocks out your lead Pokemon and then you move an Ultra Beast up to the active and then use Lusamine to immediately attach the energies from your knocked out Pokemon to it and keep your pressure on even though your opponent cleared whatever your lead was going to be. We kick off the Ultra Beasts from this expansion with the Guzzlord EX, a whopping 170 HP EX basic, the highest sustain we've seen on a basic Pokemon in Pocket to date. It has a 2 energy attack grind core that deals a nominal amount of damage, but more importantly, flips coins to strip energy away from your opponent's active Pokemon. This seems incredibly potent if you have first energy advantage. Even a single heads means that your opponent's going to get completely stopped in their tracks from building up anything that requires more than 1 energy to be attacking. It also has Tyrannical Hole as a 4 energy finisher, threatening to deal 120 points of damage. When you consider the context of Guzzlord alongside Lusamine, you only need a single energy on your benched Guzzlord in order to threaten pivoting it in with 120 points of damage if your opponent knocks out a lead that has 2 energy on it. I think the flexibility of this being a serviceable starting Pokemon with Grindcore as well as being a potential solid finisher of 120 damage on a basic means this is very likely to be a metagame staple in some way, shape, or form. Now, the potential downside to the Guzzlord, despite its hefty HP pool and solid attacks, is its massive retreat cost of 4 energy, but in enter another card that was spoiled today, the Celesteela, which is a 120 HP basic who has the ability Ultra Thrusters that once per turn lets you switch your active Ultra Beast with one of your benched Ultra Beasts. This gives you flexibility to not get stuck on your Guzzlord as your lead in the games where you don't want it to do that. And an important call out is this Celesteela threatens to do 100 damage for 3 energy on a non-EX Pokemon, which would give your Guzzlord deck an organic non-EX attacker, giving you the answer to clear through something like an opposing copy of Oricorio that could otherwise be very difficult for your EX finisher to clean out. Next up, we have Buzzwole EX, another Ultra Beast basic that has 140 HP. Its punch attack does 30 for 2, and its big beat threatens 120 for 3 energy, but it can't be used again on the following turn. Something that's interesting about the templating on this card is that you can combo it with Celesteela and another card that has a free retreat cost. If you go ahead and use Celesteela to swap out your Buzzwole after it's used the big beat attack, and then you can still retreat whatever Ultra Beast you switched into back to Buzzwole, allowing you to big beat again on the following turn. So one of the questions around this card is it worth putting together a build that allows you to shuffle things back and forth to constantly keep big beating? I also think Lusamine is another consideration for this card because Big Beat only needs 3 energy. It means that if you have 2 energy in your energy zone and your opponent takes a knockout, you could move Buzzwole to the active with no energy on it, attach your energy for the turn, and then go ahead and Lusamine 2 more energy onto it and suddenly blast your opponent for 120. The typing here is also relevant. We just looked at the Guzz, who is weak to grass. We also have Darkrai, who is a metagame staple that has 140 HP while weak to grass, meaning without a cape, it goes down to big beat in 1 shot. This card definitely is going to be interesting to see if maneuvering around the drawback on big beat is worth it compared to playing other cards that deal similar amounts of damage. Other Ultra Beasts that could potentially see play alongside the Buzzwole are the Pheromosa as well as Kartana as efficient one knockout point Pokemon to start with your lead. The Jumping Blues on Pheromosa is particularly appealing alongside Buzzwole's 120 damage stat line. Getting chip shot damage on your opponent's lead and then softening up their bench makes it so the 120 point hit is more likely to clear things out in one go. It can also give you a lot of control over the pacing of the game with copies of Cyrus, letting you drag things up that you've marked damage on. Kartana is a grass version of Farfetch, which is one of my personal favorite cards that I've played a ton of over Pokemon Pocket's history, and it specifically has the Ultra Beast typing, meaning it works with Celesteela and other things that care about Ultra Beasts in particular. So if you're using grass cards and playing Ultra Beasts as payoffs, this is likely a strict upgrade over playing the Duck. We got a couple of 1-point Dark Ultra Beasts as well. Nihilego has 70 HP with a Pokemon power that your opponent's active Pokemon takes 10 extra from poison. This can stack with itself, so if you have 2 of these out, your opponent's going to take 30 damage from poison every in-between turn tick. Its new wave attack for 2 energy also poisons the opponent's active. A stage 1 Dark Ultra Beast, the Naganadel, it deals 40 damage for 1 energy and distributes poison as well. While we've seen 40 damage for 1 energy stage 1 attackers not quite be good enough in the past, the combination of this being an Ultra Beast for some of those payoff cards like Celesteela, as well as poisoning to work with something like Nihilego, maybe means that this is enough for this type of card to finally be powerful enough to see play. There will be non-Ultra Beast EXs in this set as well, starting with Tapu Koko EX, 130 HP basic, whose Plasma Hurricane does 20 damage and then takes a lightning energy from your energy zone and attaches it to itself. You then have the Mach Bolt that deals 90 for 3. The templating on this card is interesting to think about from a what you're spending to what you're getting perspective. While Mach Bolt has a 3 cost on the surface level, the fact that Plasma Hurricane is providing energy for you means if we squint, Mach Bolt is kind of a deal 90 for 2 so long as you're getting a hit in with Tapu. The 130 HP point feels like it could be a little contentious for this card depending on what the metagame looks like. Giratina is currently a metagame powerhouse as a one that comes to mind, meaning that if that remains the case, Tapu Koko is going to get knocked out in one shot by one of the most common Pokemon in the game, which likely means it could be struggle to be competitively relevant. A new instance of Shiinotic is perhaps one of the most interesting cards in our teaser so far in my opinion. A 90 HP stage 1 whose Illuminate ability says once during your turn you may put a random Pokemon from your deck into your hand. Drawing additional cards in Pokemon Pocket is incredibly powerful. Our decks are very small, so even adding 1 or 2 additional to your hand means everything else you're doing becomes far more consistent over the course of the game. And Shiinotic's not just drawing a card, it's drawing you a specific type of card, allowing you to assemble all of your Pokemon evolutions more consistently. Its Gentle Slap ability is nothing to write home about, dealing only 40 damage for 2 energy, but it's most noteworthy that this is colorless energy that this requires, meaning Shiinotic could be splashed into literally any deck in the game, and its 90 HP alongside this 40 damage attack means it can technically go toe-to-toe with something like an Oricorio, meaning Shiinotic could provide key consistency for decks looking to assemble big EX stage 2s, while also giving you an out to one of the more annoying cards that's typically countering an EX-based strategy. Zeraora is coming to Pokemon Pocket in our next pack, a card that rewards you for having it in play right away. 90 HP basic with a Thunderclap Flash ability, which says at the end of your first turn, take a lightning energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon. This means that you only need 1 energy to attach to this to start attacking for 50, which is an incredibly efficient rate on a single knockout point Pokemon. It's a pretty big downside that you're going to need to attach 2 energy to it to attack with it later in the game if you don't have it right away, but this feels like a card that could really get you set up to apply pressure early without having to commit too many resources to it in an aggressively slanted lightning deck. We got teasers for a couple of other Ultra Beasts as well. Stakataka is a 110 HP card that attacks for 2, dealing 40, while also taking 20 less from attacks on the following turn, as well as Blacephalon, a 100 HP card that attacks for a whopping 130 for 3 energy, but it deals 70 back to itself. Both of these cards have somewhat interesting designs, but I'm skeptical that their overall stat lines and damage that they're dealing for their energy means that they're going to be meaningful players in the metagame. Last but certainly not least, we also got a teaser for one of the upcoming promo EX cards, likely from a PvE event, I would wager, the Ultra Necrozma Ultra Beast. This is a 150 HP Dragon EX, our first Dragon EX in the game, whose Photon Claw deals 60 for 3 colorless, and then whose Shoegaze deals 120 for 4 energy and discards the top 5 cards of each player's deck. Unfortunately for Dragon enjoyers out there like myself, who have been long hoping for a sweet Dragon EX to play in Pocket, this looks like it's likely another unplayable promo EX card, even if you consistently assemble the energy for the Shoegaze. Dealing 120 for 4 isn't that impressive, and 2 color energy attacks, especially one that needs 2 different specifics of 2 different types, is going to be pretty inconsistent to get together. The discarding cards for the tops of both players' decks is novel, but ultimately by the time you get this set up, it's probably not going to be a super relevant part of the effect. The announcement post for Extradimensional Crisis tells us that it will be upwards of 100 new cards being added to the game, but this card count communication always includes alternate arts as additional cards, so I would wager this set will be the more typical 70-ish unique cards that we've seen from the other 5 EX booster packs that we've had in the past, which I think is a good thing. We don't want too many cards coming into Pokemon Pocket too quickly. It's going to be interesting to see if this Ultra Beast typing and the cards that pay us off for doing so are going to be worth exploring. It definitely feels like in the case of Guzzlord, at a minimum, we've got a little bit of power creep ratcheting up in the game yet again, with 170 HP on a basic Pokemon being an incredible number that we've typically only seen on stage 2s in the past. I would love to hear in the comments down below which of these new cards you are most excited to get brewing with. As always, if you enjoyed my musings on this topic, make sure you smash the like button on the video to hopefully help it reach some more people. I'd also love to hear if you enjoy this more detailed, formatted breakdown as opposed to a quick off-the-cuff reaction just watching the video. I'm curious if a little bit slower to get up but better formatted like this is preferred, or if you'd like the quick and dirty that's possible to get up a lot faster after the spoiler drops in the morning. As always, I appreciate everybody that made it all the way through to the end of the video. I'd love it if you're new here, if you subscribe and come back again. Thanks for watching, and I hope your next pack is an excellent one.